Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, my gosh. It's so beautiful. So, um, what came to me today to talk about or share was a little bit about the journey, my journey. And I kind of woke up in my early 20s, or even before that, I was, you know, wondering what was going on here on this planet. Why was I here? And what was I supposed to do? And it just didn't seem kind of right that all I was going to do was go to school and get a job and find a girl and settle down and all of that. It just didn't fit for me. Did it fit for you? You know, and I mean, even those of you who've done it, and it's you're in your 50s or 40s, and it's kind of finished. The kids have grown up, and you look back and sure, you love them and enjoy them, and the grandkids, we love them and enjoy them, and all of that, but is that what it was about? I don't think so. I, Forgive me, but so and I never thought so. So I was always I always felt like the odd man out. I it didn't kind of fit, and I wasn't all that interested in things like fixing stuff or building stuff, or but I tried to play the game, and judge myself harshly because I wasn't really that good at the game of relationship. I wasn't really that good at the game of making money, being an employee or an employer, and but I did it all, and you know, thinking that was my value. And in the middle of all of that, all those years I was looking, I went to self-help groups, I went to, I traveled to be with teachers, and I read copious amounts of books, and things changed, but somehow it was the elusive thing. I kept missing this thing that was like, what is it that is that makes us, who are we? I had this idea of and a judgment on myself of right and wrong, and a judgment on others of right and wrong, and good and bad. And if they did what I liked, then I liked them. If they didn't, then I didn't. And I was always thinking, what, do they like me or not like me, or all of this stuff. And it was, so the mind was crazy in judgment most of my life, and in complaint as well, and in story, and in my story about me, was I'm not good enough, and not strong enough, not smart enough, not tall enough, not good looking enough, um, and that's not humility. That's not humility, and so anyway, the door opened. It was amazing, and it's like this last couple of years, the last year and a half, for me has been like a retreat. When I had this thing, that this last thing, I thought, well, if I can be successful at business, that will be good. That'll be enough. And when that all changed, and I finally had to face myself, it's like, okay, it isn't about that. It's not about whether I'm successful at anything. It's who am I now? And to I know it seems like a funny thing to say because we think we're living in the moment, but most all of my life I passed everything through my mind for quick judgment, you know, and the mind was ready to judge everything, right or wrong, good or bad, for me, against me, and so to just allow nothing, to allow not knowing, and to focus, on one side of letting go of the story, You know, we're not who we think we are. We're not who we've been told we are. Life isn't, what we thought it was. And the beautiful thing, I mean, I love the 12 steps that Bill Wilson gave us. And although Bill cobbled that together from a bunch of other belief systems and other paths, it's beautiful, because in what we get, it really is this thing that I'm talking about. You know, it says we'll know peace. Wow, we'll know peace. What's that? You know, peace is in this moment, and we'll know peace. So, in the early days, Dr. Bob didn't even care if people went to meetings, only if they were willing to A, stop whatever the substance was, and B, to meditate, to, to be here now. And was his criteria, whether he'd work with them or not. And so in this moment is this realization that we don't need all of our information on the world. We were brought up around caution, be careful, let it go. There's nothing, we rely on life, rely on the moment, rely on our higher power in this moment. We are one with that. Bill said, God either is or he isn't, either he's everything or he's nothing. Well, if he's everything, then where do we would find him in this moment, here, now, not judging from the past, not using our intellect, which is tainted by the stories we've been told, by Hollywood, by mom and dad, by, the education system. We're I had a friend yesterday talking to me about systemic. The word systemic is systematic. And so we've been systematically programmed to judge the world a certain way. And systemic, say, racism, for instance, as an example, is in the system. So we don't actually know. We don't actually know. Hang on a second. Um, that it's there. So how do we move past, say, racism as an example? Um, you know, which is the same as if I were to talk about how do we really be in a relationship. Well, the same. Racism is about a relationship we have with everybody. With different groups of people, and so in the system is this. Is the beliefs that are already programmed in. So we can work on changing the beliefs, or we can actually work on being here now in love. When we're here in love, there is no systems, no systemic beliefs about others or about ourselves. There's love. So I encourage you. That's the path. We can work a whole lot on patching up the the structure, or we can give it a whole new foundation. And the whole new foundation is in love, in this moment, and it's beyond the mind, beyond the thinking mind. I feel very in this moment. It's almost impossible to describe, but we are that. And the more we move in that, Bill in the 12 steps gave us all of this recipe to free up the past, so we weren't carrying guilt or shame or judgment on ourselves. And we saw that others were so much the same, that we sometimes we were angry or upset with people that were judgmental or angry or upset with us, and we're all the same. We are one. And as we look around, ego tells us that everybody has it together. Well, everybody's going through this. Who am I? And So that's the deal. Be here now. I recommend, of course, I recommend for everybody, not just the alcoholic or the addict. The 12 steps is a great pathway to awakening, to literally awakening. And it's not just a way to stop using or drinking, it's a pathway to an awakening, to a real, full on, um, living in love awakening. And there's other teachers, Eckhart Tolle has some beautiful teachings. Muji, spend time in that. Imagine it was important to you, that awakening in love was important to you, not to get love, but to be that love that you already are, to self-realize, to realize self-realization. You know, Maslow talked about in the hierarchy that the self-actualization was at the very top, and imagine that that was important. You would spend hours every day looking and how to kind of allow yourself to see, um, but somehow we've got mixed up and we think the most important thing is making money, or the most important thing is getting experiences, and as we awaken, every experience is amazing. I mean, look at this yard. I love it. My little garden behind me needs weeding. But it's a great analogy. We have to keep weeding, and allow this realization to grow. Okay. So the last few weeks I've been reading a little bit from my book, the Tao Te Ching, and this is also, there's so many pointers towards this same thing. The Tao, of course, is one of them, and all of at the core of most all of the religions, when we get past the dogma, is this realization, this oneness with the moment. It's not a belief in something out there. It's a experience of something now, right now. So here we go. This is chapter 40. These little chapters, this one's like 4 lines, but this was Stephen Mitchell did the translation, and lao-tzu was the author. They don't know much about lao-tzu, but so return, it says, to the movement of the Tao. Yielding is the way of the Tao. Return is the movement of the Tao. Yielding is the way of the Tao. All things are born of being. All things are born of being. Being is born of non-being. I know. So, in a way, I have this thing. I think, well, this is not for everybody. And in a way, we vote ourselves in or out around this kind of awakening. But if you're like I was, which was, I was troubled. I knew there was something. I had this idea that it was outside of me. But I recognize now that we all have access. We all have access to this oneness. We are that. So it's a beautiful thing. That's it, you guys. Love you, love you, love you. I'm on the road tomorrow. Got the bike all ready to go, and myself and a couple of friends we're going to get on our Harleys and ride to the East Coast. My goal is to go swim in the Atlantic, and although I have as a kid for sure, I'm going to go and jump in the Atlantic. And last week I was in the Pacific. Isn't that great? It's fun, just and I'm open as I travel to, if you're anywhere in this country, to stop and say hello. Let me know where you are, and we're really taking our time to putt along, and so love you, and I'll continue to do this as I travel, maybe just from my phone, but to share these messages, and that's it. I'd love it if you comment, say something. If you have a question, you know, how do I be here now? You know, if you just want to share, please do. And love it if you'd also go to YouTube and follow my YouTube channel. And all of these readings that I've just done 40 of them, and out of this book, I think there's 81. So they're I've done them. They're on YouTube. You can go back and listen to them if you'd like, and it's beautiful. It really is. And Stephen Mitchell, amazing, and the Tao Te Ching is, again, the road to awakening. There is no road to awakening, really, because we are that. But that seems difficult. Okay, love you, and we'll talk soon.